Hi everyone, my name is Blair Robinson. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. If you like this video, please hit the like button or subscribe. There's many more videos of me just sharing my testimony and my walk with God and other fun little things to come. Today I don't have a topic, and I'll tell you why. So I thought I was going to do a video about trials, and I had everything planned out and I knew what I wanted to talk about, and then the last 48 hours happened. Just a couple of things happened that led me into just a feeling of depression and disappointment, and I couldn't shake it. I was just praying and thinking and just trying to be alone with God, and not really understanding why I was in the space that I was in. I asked my mother to pray for me, which she always does. Her answer is, I always pray for you. And she did get a word from God, and what it was is I had to, or the spirit of lies and deceit had to be abolished or obliterated or dead. I'm not really sure what word she used, I can't remember, but pretty much it had to go. So again, I was praying, and for, I would say, the past couple of weeks, I just kept hearing in my head that you're not good enough. You're not good enough. And I didn't realize how much I believed that until today. And it's amazing because you think you get to a certain level, or you think you've I don't know, been delivered enough and defeated enough and went through enough trials, which is the reason why I want to talk about trials, just to hear that you've been listening to a very old lie. And then I was watching my church today, and towards the end, our pastor, she was just praying against lying tongues and liars and the spirit of lies, and everything kind of just fell into place. And I'm sharing this with you to just encourage you not to listen to the lies. If there's something that you consistently hear in your head, things like you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're ugly, or you're even though you're attractive, you're still not as attractive as this person, or you just feel like you just can't hit some sort of mental level in your head. It's not you. God did not do that. He loved the world so that he gave his only begotten son. That's how much he loves us. And I think that as a Christian, especially if you've been a Christian for a long time, that verse becomes second nature. Yes, okay, yes, we know Jesus died for us, thank you, Lord, and you're thankful, but you don't really stop to think about the impact. Imagine if you had a child and someone said to you, in order to save the world and everyone in it, we need for you to put your child at the altar, and we're gonna slay your child, and we're gonna beat your child before we slay them, and you have to stand there and watch it. I don't know if there's any parent on this earth that would be completely on board with that at all. I don't know if they'd be on board with it at all. I'm sure there's a parent out there who will be obedient to it, but then would they be able to live through just seeing their child be sacrificed and slaughtered for other people's children? And we forget that. And I just want to encourage and remind everyone that not everything you hear in your head is you. Not everything that was spoken over you was truth, and that there is a way out of these thoughts. You just pray and you read the Bible and you just push forward you just keep pushing forward. Sometimes you'll have an immediate revival, you pray, you get up and you feel released. And then there's sometimes you're gonna just have to walk it out. You're gonna have to walk out that deliverance. And in those times, just keep the faith, keep the hope, surround yourself with people who love you. And that's another thing. Be careful who your friends are, or people you call your friends. Even if they're your family, a lie can definitely alter your state of mind. It can steal your confidence. It can make you give up. And I want to say it's the father of suicidal thoughts. You just having lies in your head about your life, about your purpose, saying that you don't have purpose. And you do have purpose. We all have purpose here. God wouldn't have given his son as a sacrifice to this earth if we didn't have purpose. So I just want to encourage everyone out there, and speaking from someone who just came out of a small hurdle, just recently in my life. So you might be wondering, well, why is she airing out her dirty laundry? And I don't feel like it's dirty laundry. I feel like most people go through these things, and it's nice to hear someone talk about it. We live in a society where we look at social media, and all of us, we always post our best moments, and our thread becomes this thread of best moments, and then people looking at it interpret it as best life. So you have a thread of best moments, which equates to someone's best life, and that's not true. So while I was in the middle of this, I did tell God, I said, I'm tired. I've come out of a lot, which is why I have a lot to share, but I'm tired of going through certain things. And I had a thought in my head that said, maybe you go through some of these things to actually experience it, to then share and be a witness to others. And then I thought about Esther in the Bible, which is one of my favorite books. Esther, she's a Jewish young lady, and Xerxes, he needs a new wife, and I think it's Xerxes. But let's just say the king of Persia at the time, he needs a new wife, and she goes through all this ritual and becomes the new queen. And come to find out, she wasn't there just to be queen for a day. She was there really to save the Jewish people. And her uncle, I think it's her uncle, her cousin, sorry, and her relative, who's her caretaker at the time, comes to her and reminds her who she is. And he says, and it's in Esther 4, verse 14. And he says, who knows, perhaps you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. So, meaning time as this was to save the Jewish people. You're not just here in this place to look pretty and to, be queen. Perhaps God put you here for a purpose. So that brings two things to mind. So while I'm going through this dark little period, the first thing I'm thinking of when I'm coming out of it, well, God, what is it that you need me to do with it? We don't go through these trials for no reason. There's always something that either God is trying to teach us or push us through or help us realize that we need to, or help us or show us that it's something that we need to fix and address before we move forward. The second thing that came to mind was people of influence nowadays. What are we doing, or what are you doing with your influence? What are you doing with the people who are watching you? Whether you're in music industry, acting, it doesn't matter. If you're in a high place of influence, what are you doing? What are you putting out that's influencing others? Are you putting out truth? Are you putting out positivity? Are you lying? These are things that I think that people in these positions should really examine within themselves. And for those of you who are watching people in these positions, examine within your heart while you're listening and ask God to give you a spirit of discernment. So, in conclusion, don't listen to the lies. It may take a while before you stop believing in the lie, but what I like to do is I like to use my stubbornness against darkness. So, when I become aware of the enemy's plan, I find it kind of fun to just be disobedient towards the enemy. Because there was a time where I was disobedient towards God. So now, in my obedience towards God, I'm disobedient towards the enemy. So when the enemy is saying, you're not enough, or you're blah, 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 now that I've identified it, I can stop and go do the opposite and say, wait a minute. What am I about to do right now that I just heard that lie saying I'm not enough? Oh, I was about to share my testimony, so I better go on and do it. Because when I hear that, I know that what I was about to do was actually for the Lord, was actually within obedience to God. So I would say that's a good way to start believing the truth about yourself. Because God said we are beautifully and wonderfully made. We are made in His image. He sacrificed His Son for us. There's so many beautiful verses in the Bible about who we are. It's ridiculous. But these lies are so loud. And I have to ask myself, why? Why are they loud? Why have they become so loud? That's a big answer. But to narrow it down to your life, to my life, let's start being disobedient towards the enemy. Yeah. And don't believe those lies that are mixed with some fact. It doesn't necessarily make it truth. Okay? There's lies out there that he says that's mixed with, let's say you did something wrong in the past. You actually did do something wrong. But he takes what happened, which is fact, and mixes it with deception and creates a lie. So now you become confused because it is mixed with something you did wrong. It is mixed with something that happened. But because it's coming from the enemy, you have to just shut that down and say, you know what? God has forgiven me for that. And all the other stuff that you're saying is not true. So let me stop. Again, think about when this happens. Let me stop and say, wait a minute. I was going to do something in my heart that I feel like God put in my heart to do. And here you come. You just said something. So that means I need to go and do that. That very thing I need to go and do because you're trying to stop me. So I know it's for my good. I know it's for my purpose. And I know once it's done, you're just going to have less and less power in the end. So fight the good fight, y'all. Have faith. Love yourself. Always love yourself. And always love others. Have a good one.